Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is some quite weird things to come out over the last few hours about Stephen Flynn, the SNP MP. Before we start, people often ask, how can I support the channel and your work? You can do that a few ways. You can become a member, or you can subscribe, which is free. Or if you don't want to do any of that, click the wee thumbs up button. It does wonders for the reach. Okay, so Stephen Flynn, two things. First thing, he was on TV today talking absolute nonsense about Humza Yousaf's departure, and the Independent have released a sort of exclusive which they seem to have got from an insider in the SNP. So the TV, he was interviewed, I can't remember if it was Sky or BBC, but I've seen the clip on social media where he was asked about did he help gerrymander the Humza Yousaf situation by getting him to bin the Butte House agreement. And it gets pretty bizarre. He totally denies putting any pressure or having anything to do with Humza's decision, but he totally agreed that he had met him, he had discussed it with him, and the outcome was exactly what Stephen wanted. But he had no influence whatsoever, because we wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. It's not my job. It's the First Minister's job. It's not my job to tell the First Minister what to do. So you've declared that you spoke to him about it. You obviously told him what you would have wanted to happen, and you're now saying that what happened is what you wanted to happen. That was the Butte House agreement going in the bin. You had no influence over it whatsoever. Crackers, aren't they? We have to fall for this nonsense, right? So, Stephen, I'm calling bullshit on that one. You got what you wanted after influencing the First Minister, okay? The second thing is this article in The Independent actually came out yesterday. Fascinating stuff. The headline is Stephen Flynn being lined up for long-term keep Kate out strategy in the SNP leadership battle. SNP insiders have revealed a long-term succession strategy to ensure controversial former Finance Minister Kate Forbes does not become leader. This is intriguing, isn't it? Now, I think a lot of people have tipped it Stephen Flynn will become the next leader of the SNP. The reason he wouldn't have put himself forward just now was the SNP are trying to get somebody in as First Minister. You can be the leader of the SNP without being in Holyrood, but you obviously couldn't become the First Minister unless you're already in Holyrood. So I think anybody with half a brain and using common sense and logic has figured out that John Swinney's just in until Stephen Flynn can get there, right? So this is a fantastic story, and it just confirms what a lot of people believe is going on. So senior SNP insiders, plural, have told The Independent that there's a succession plan in place to prevent the party from moving to the right under potential Kate Forbes leadership in the future. Ms Forbes has ruled herself out of making a second bid for the leadership in just over a year, in a move that should ensure former Deputy First Minister John Swinney is unopposed as replacement to Humza Yousaf. But senior party sources have claimed that Mr Swinney, who was previously leader in a disastrous period of the SNP between 2000 and 2004, is only a stopgap option until the next Scottish Parliament election in 2026, or sooner, depending on how Parliament goes. So, as an NSP MP, who is an ally of Mr Yousaf and his predecessor Nicola Sturgeon, said that the plan is for the party's current Westminster leader, Stephen Flynn, to be parachuted in as a long-term option for leader at Holyrood. The aim appears to be to ensure that Ms Forbes, who narrowly lost out to Mr Yousaf last year, does not become leader of the party. The former Finance Secretary courted huge controversy with her strong Christian views as a member of the Free Church of Scotland, which are seen as contrary to the progressive views of the current SNP, in place since Ms Sturgeon was leader. Discussing the leadership void left by Mr Yousaf's resignation, the SNP MP said, Swinney has the authority, loved by the members, respected by officials. I would be content, and more crucially, laser focused on what people's concerns are, and not green obsessive nonsense, crucially head and shoulders above anyone in that Parliament. That's what Kate said. Sorry, that's who the source said. But an MP, so that's somebody in Westminster. Asked who the long-term answer is, they were told that would be Stephen Flynn. When it was pointed out that Flynn is in wrong Parliament, with the SNP only accepting leaders based in Holyrood, that must be a new thing, the MP added he'll find a way in 2026. Meanwhile, a friend of Ms Forbes, who is still considering whether to challenge, this was obviously before the news came out, where are we? For leadership, Sturgeon's allies will do whatever they can to stop Kate. This is a Kate out strategy and a succession plan at all costs. The problem is that she is the only one with the vision and ability to make the changes the party needs to make. We are heading for a defeat this year in the general election and in 2026. However, Ms Forbes' views have been described as completely unacceptable by one senior SNP figure, while an SNP MP added, "We do not want a tartan Tory leader." Oof, fighting words. Ms Forbes is opposed to gay marriage, which is seen as a red line by many progressive SNP members, and a reason not to support her. Well, that's kind of odd, because the SNP members voted for the leadership, and she came second to Humza Yousaf, where the vote was 52-48. That seems quite close. That's a fair chunk of your members. Yet, they're suggesting that Ms Forbes' views on gay marriage would be a problem for the members. I don't think they're reading the room. She also described having children out of wedlock as wrong. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're a Christian, you would prefer people to not be out of wedlock, but that doesn't mean too much. I don't see what the problem is there. Ms Forbes has also outlined her opposition to abortion in the past. Anyway, ultimately, the gender recognition bill was passed by Scottish Parliament, but blocked by the UK government. It was talking about things that she doesn't really like. Where are we? Meanwhile, Stephen Flynn, the MP for Aberdeen South, has enjoyed a similar rise in the party's ranks after being elected to Westminster in 2019. He succeeded Blackford as Westminster leader in 2022 and has since led the party's focus on issues such as Gaza and the war. Mr Flynn this week put his support behind John Swinney, imagine that, to become the leader in the aftermath of Mr Yousaf's resignation. After Mr Swinney made his announcement he was standing, Mr Flynn posted on social media, "The unifying statement of intent from John Swinney this morning could not have been more impressive. Precisely what the party, but more importantly the public, need to hear. A man who speaks to all of Scotland." No, he doesn't. "He will lead us to a brighter future." No, he won't. So, what's happening here is absolutely fantastic. There is evidently splits, games, and the game of politics being played out in front of us here by a party who are determined not to move towards the middle ground. They want to remain out to the left and don't want anybody anywhere near power to help them remain there. This is bonkers politics to me, because if you're SNP, you want as many people to vote as possible. Now, your votes have dwindled over the last two Scottish elections, which means you're not attracting as many as you need to have a majority government. So you would think that they would move a wee bit to the centre to try and appease some people and try and attract votes or get voters back that they've lost through time. They are so blinded by staying left that it will be their downfall. And there is not a chance that the people running the party, not the members, the people running the party would want Kate Forbes anywhere near running that party. I think she'd be no bad at it. You know, she's young enough that she's got plenty more years ahead of her to do it. It might be 10 years, she might be the party leader. And I think she would probably be a better party leader in minority, because her views are closer to the people who she needs support from as a minority leader. But they don't see it that way. They just want to be left at all costs. They want indie at all costs, although they don't know how to get it, right? So I just think they're an absolute bonkers party. And what you can see clearly here is a split in the party, and it seems like the ones who hold the more power are hell-bent on getting Flynn in. I don't know how safe Flynn's seat is in Aberdeen. I've not looked at the figures, but if he doesn't get voted in at Westminster election, which could happen imminently, and as long as the Westminster elections are still before the Scottish elections, because these crackpots could have the wheels falling off it at any time in Holyrood. But before the chaos, it was predictable that Westminster election would be first, Scottish election second. So I don't know how safe his seat is, but if his seat is safe, he wins it in Westminster and Westminster is first, then what they would do is they would just put him in a safe seat for the Scottish Parliament in 2026, and he would do the dual stuff, the same as Douglas Ross does just now. And then he could give up his seat and hold a by-election in his constituency, or he could actually run two, and then after those two elections, where it's expected SNP votes will drop, Swinney steps down, tried my best again, safe pair of hands, just lost some seats but within an acceptable margin, and we're going to have a new leader. Oh, there's Stephen Flynn in Holyrood now. This is what they've planned, and I hope when they do that, they are nowhere near government and nowhere near the 63 seats that they've currently got. I'd love to see them in Scottish Parliament with about 30. Right, that would be brilliant. I would love that. Might even be worse. But that's what they're planning. They are totally void of, then all this pish about doing what's best for Scotland. You have no clue what's going on the floor, in the ground in Scotland, because like most nationalists, you surround yourself with nationalists. So you believe what they're telling you because you think that's you taking the temperature of the country. But it's not. It's the temperature of those within an arm's length of you. And that'll be the downfall. So, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can hit the notifications, and YouTube will tell you the next time I put a video out. However, most important thing of all, as long as you're not the SNP, Swinney, or his conniving, who I believe told lies today on TV, Stephen Flynn, any of their ever-reducing cult, see everybody else. Have a great day. Cheery bye now.